Hide that thing. Nobody wants to see that thing. You guys, for reasons that will become clear, that are clear, we're a little bit late because we've been trying to... When someone runs a high-end production like the Robbie and Matthew show,
yes.
Sometimes you have to book talent. That means actors or performers who are high maintenance, so to speak. They have very complicated contracts where you have to have a certain type of food.
You have to make sure that you are satisfying them in all ways.
Right.
Otherwise, they won't come onto your show.
I had to provide whole milk in a particular type of vessel. I tried to give it to young Jasper in a glass, and he protested vehemently, which means a lot, which means strenuously. Yeah. So, I apologize in advance. There is a thematic reason for us having Jasper on the show today, especially as he is dressed. Can you tell what it might be?
Where is the agenda?
Please, let us proceed with order and dignity, such dignity as we can summon. What do we say?
Hello.
We say hello on April 6th for the Storytime agenda. We then proceed to the theme song.
I was distracted by someone screaming
JJ,
"Mama" in my ear.
You need to wait just a second for your part, okay?
Hold your iPad.
Well, okay. We might have promised certain electronic diversions to the young man in exchange for his complimentary appearance on today's show. Daily Minute. So we also might have convinced him that he's participating in the Daily Minute, which is one of his favorite pastimes.
Are you ready for the theme song?
I am ready. Jasper, are we going to dance? Can you dance when this song goes? No dancing. All right, here we go.
Oh. Wrong.
That's what we call a quality control effort.
That was another
on the
song
part of
by
our
Drew.
recording engineer.
Okay.
It wasn't. That was Matthew's harmonica playing.
Yes, it was.
Are you ready? I'm happy, which hopefully will buy us a couple more minutes apiece. What do we have here? It is time to drink water. Jasper is hydrating in his own way.
Drink a bottle of milk.
As the case may be. My friends, cheers
Prost,
if you got it.
Kampai.
I hope you've got your...
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Cheers. Here we go.
Cheers, thank you.
Gonna take a little break in the middle of my water. Gonna sing a little song. Gonna take a little break so that Robbie can catch up.
Burps. Who has burps?
Robbie, I tried my hardest. I tried to wait for you. You got some burps going, Jay?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let us see. What do we have next? We have show the cover of The Imaginary Dragon. I mentioned there was a thematic reason for having young Jasper dressed as he is today, and it's because today's book is The Imaginary Dragon. And as we were thinking about reading this book to you today, we said, oh my goodness, we have a real live dragon in our actual house.
Yes.
Jasper, can you do a roar for the people? Roar.
A big roar.
That's a very tentative roar. Oh!
Here we go. We got it.
Do you have another one? Oh! Are you very, very afraid as you know? Oh! Oh my goodness. Oh! All right, so if there are any... if there are any... I'm almost too frightened to continue sitting here with Jasper. Jasper, I thought maybe I would play a song. Would you like to hear a song? Would you like to dance to one of your favorite songs? Okay, Mama, I'm going to give you Jasper.
All right, it's dance time.
I need to create the favorite song. And if you guys don't know this song, this is a song I recommend.
Can I not put it up on the
no, we're just going to put it here because I need to... I don't know if you have this one.
Well, I can... Okay. Hey, this is not going to be satisfying for the people listening.
Do you know what will make them satisfied? If you lean into it, Robbie.
All right.
And if you yourself are satisfied. All right? We're looking for it, buddy. We're looking for it.
What's it called?
It's called It's Raining Tacos. I wanted that to be a surprise, but it sounds like Robbie is more interested in audiophonic fidelity than surprise. Did you find it?
Rain tacos.
Oh, here we go. Jasper's getting ready. Guys, get up and get ready to dance as our own very professional in-house dragon dances on a wobbly stool, which seems like a terrible idea.
That's a terrible
but I'm going to
idea.
support him. All right, let's go.
It's not finding
Robbie. Robbie promised raining tacos. Play
My
It's
stupid
Raining
Apple
Tacos.
Music does not work.
Oh, it's Apple Music's. We're teaching.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why.
Let's dance,
Just
Jay.
open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. Raining tacos. street tacos. All you can eat, lettuce and shells.
Can you raise your hands? Can you raise your hands for the people?
It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yum. It's like a treat. Yum, 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 yum. Bring your sour cream.
All right, we don't want to spoil the entirety of Raining Tacos, but
Shell, meat, lettuce, cheese, shell, meat, lettuce, cheese, cheese.
all right, I think we better cut it off, Robbie.
There we
Just
go.
for reasons that we're promoting,
Yes.
It's Raining Tacos, but it's not our song.
I hope you all were dancing
all right,
to that.
friends. I think it's time to send our little dragon off.
Yes.
Unless you have any questions or comments for Jasper. In fact, we can address the comments and questions after he's gone.
Let it go.
Let it go. He does want to hear Let
He's
It
a
Go.
big fan of Let It Go.
We're having an Elsa
Let It
moment
Go.
in the barn right now, but I'm
He
going to
just
let
told
you.
Siri to play Let It Go.
I'm going to let you go, Jasper. Can you say bye-bye to everybody? Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you later. See you
Bye,
later,
Jasper.
friends. Bye. Yes, bye. This is a good way to say goodbye. Goodbye. We'll see you soon. See you tomorrow. Bye,
look at
guys.
that. We got some excellent rain clouds and tacos over here. Hello, Lemon Turtle. We are glad that you have been here for so long, since 11:50. You guys are well prepared. Oh man, I tell you, hanging out with Jasper is exhausting.
It is. I'm tired already.
Wait,
and we
aren't
have,
we reading our book?
We are
No, we've
going
got more
to.
visitors.
Yes,
What's
we got
happening?
more visitors. We have. What does that say?
Dance to Jasper's favorite song.
And?
Kato and Alden share their capitalist scheme.
Okay, you guys. We showed you yesterday Augie's. What did we show of Augie's yesterday?
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh,
A
we showed.
capitalist
We
scheme.
we showed you yesterday the Ghost Fight and Treasure Hunters game.
Oh, yeah.
August shared that with you. Alden and Kato are here to show you what they have been crafting recently, but not crafting just for the joy of crafting. No, sir. Crafting for the sake of putting together
So-
an enterprise that will earn them great deals of
Yes.
money when they are allowed to interact with humanity
A
again.
capitalist scheme means a way of making money. Capitalism is about industry and work and producing things that other people will buy. All right, explain, please. Stop chewing your gum so wildly.
You can chew your gum very quietly and subtly. Guys, what have you been crafting? Show us what you've been crafting.
We've been making these weird, cool bracelets.
Yeah.
What are they called?
What,
Gimps. Yeah.
what is the material
Cobra knot.
you've been using?
And these
Paracord.
keychains.
Paracord.
And
Paracord.
buckles. Cool little buckles that make it look so professional.
It is
Yes.
a thick, sort of ropey thing that you can use to braid in all sorts of wonderful configurations.
I think that's
with
actually a macrame knot, which is a good word.
macrame. You can make lovely
What
wall
is
hangings
this
with
knot?
macrame. But
This
you
is a cobra knot.
and these
Or a cobra knot.
Kato, will you lift this up for just a second? As you can see, they are braiding, but with a very thick substance here. So it's a very sturdy
Called
paracord.
paracord.
And then the kits come with these little buckles so that you can...
No, we just bought buckles separately.
Okay, we bought buckles separately. I'm glad someone is here
It's
for
cheaper
quality
if you
control.
buy the buckles separately.
But you can also get kits that will allow you
Yes.
to do these things.
Yes.
We found it's a really good way to immerse your children, your
While away
capitalist...
a single day.
A single
and
day.
now they've used them all up, and
Yeah.
we have to get more or something.
Perhaps if one were more measured in their allotment of paracord, it would last for more than one day. But these children are particularly zealous in their desire to make bracelets, keychains, and other objects that they will sell on the street corner. I warn you, citizens of Chestertown, if you come near their booth, you will spontaneously shed dollars to acquire their goods.
Or not. Please
You won't
choose
be able
not to.
to resist.
We also
Yeah.
have keychains.
Also have keychains.
keychains.
All right, so the sales pitch has begun. Thank you, children,
Mm.
for sharing your interests and passions with us. Now, please, return to your regularly scheduled program.
Okay.
It's been nice seeing you here. Thank you.
Goodbye,
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, so
All right.
all of the children have been displayed to you in the past 24 hours. That was a request by one of our viewers that
Oh.
the children be displayed. Yes?
Paracords, apparently, according to Principal Schaefer's mom,
Yes.
may also be used for survival.
Survival in what sense?
I don't know.
If you're hanging from a limb, you can use it to not
Are they
fall.
called paracords because you use them in parachute?
They seem extremely sturdy. I
are
would not
sturdy.
doubt their ability to hold the weight. Look what happened, you guys. Jasper left his bottle here. If we need to
Boy,
hydrate
we're gonna
more,
hear it. We're gonna hear it from Jasper.
or if I get thirsty, I'm going to be sad. I would like to welcome our friends. We have new viewers from Australia.
Ooh.
Way on the other side of things,
Ooh.
Namdi and Chi-Chi. Thank
Hi.
you for joining this show. It is our pleasure to talk to you guys and to share our stories with you. So, thanks for joining us from so far away. I wish I had a shovel so I
No.
could dig right through the middle
That's not how it
and come
works.
down and see you. It would get very hot in the middle, but I would come anyway because I'm so interested in meeting you both.
It would get so hot you would get vaporized.
That's Robbie's.
And then
That's
you
Robbie's
wouldn't
opinion.
Get to visit anyway.
I don't think Robbie has any evidence to prove that.
I saw a
All
YouTube
let's
video
see,
about it.
Let's see. Kato and Alden, did you go? Robbie reads the imaginary dragon.
Here
Let's
we
get
go.
to the business at hand. We had a lot of preamble today.
We did.
Preamble is
Everybody's
the stuff.
tired of us talking.
Well, I don't know if that's true. Do you think Chi-Chi and Namdi are tired of us
I
talking?
think everyone is tired of us talking. We're going to read now. Here's the thing.
What?
I have to do some complicated things.
Oh.
You're gonna have a peek at something, but okay, don't pay attention to that.
Don't look at the
There we
the
go.
rough
Here we
around
go.
the edges.
There
Look,
we go.
That was a very short-lived. Oh, do we not get to see
You don't
ourselves
get
while
to
you
see
read
yourself,
this?
Matthew.
Because we have some animations today.
Yes.
Oh, this is exciting.
Okay.
The sacrifice is worth it.
The Imaginary Dragon.
By Matthew Swanson, illustrations by Robbie Bear.
Indeed.
All right, here we go.
Named Bill lived on top of a mountain that rose above a town full of busy, interesting people.
That's subjective, by the way, whether or not they're interesting. I just wanted to point that out.
It's facts.
All right.
Matthew wrote this all facts.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
One note I want to make.
Yes.
We have read this book before.
Oh.
I want for you guys to try to think of questions
Oh.
about this book as we go through this book a second time.
We want this show to be dictated by your needs, my friends. Your desires, your dreams.
Yes.
Oh, I was supposed to have animated this while
Yes,
Robbie said that rose above a
exactly.
town full of busy,
There we
interesting
go.
people. All right, here we go.
Early each morning... Oh, Matthew.
What?
Early each morning, Bill flew down
Oh.
to see what they were up to.
I think Robbie's to be blamed because she's putting me in a position that I've
He's
never been in before.
He's unfamiliar with what to do.
I've never done
Okay,
this.
now you can turn the page.
Thank you, Robbie.
Turn the page.
Oh, I wanted to just
my gosh.
tweak you a little bit more. I've turned the page. All right. Everyone in town?
Do you guys see how hard it is to work with Matthew?
Everyone in town.
Everyone in town did something important. The baker baked cinnamon rolls, the children went to school, and the king stood on his balcony waving his scepter back and forth, telling everybody what to do. More than anything, Bill wanted to do something important, but since he didn't know what it might be, he lay on the bakery roof all day long, watching and waiting. One morning, a bossy bird named Morris landed on the end of Bill's nose. "Why are you lying there like a lump?" Morris said. "You're the worst dragon in the world." "Excuse me?" said Bill. "Dragons are supposed to breathe fire and kidnap princesses and sit on big piles of gold," said Morris, strutting back and forth on his bony bird feet. Bill thought about this. He could breathe fire, but usually chose not to because he thought it was rude. He certainly didn't want to kidnap anybody, and he couldn't think of anything more boring than gold. "It doesn't matter anyway," said Morris, "since dragons are imaginary." And with that, he flew off to be mean to someone else. Bill thought about what Morris had said. He couldn't be imaginary. Could he? He glanced at his tail. It didn't look imaginary. He tapped his nose with his knuckles. It didn't feel imaginary. But Morris had said he was imaginary, and Morris was almost always right. Bill decided to find someone else to ask. Bill went to the forest and found his best friend, Unicorn Pete. Pete was sad. "Morris said I was imaginary," said Pete, who looked like he was about to cry. "You too?" said Bill, handing Pete a tissue. "I don't know what to do," said Pete. "Maybe we can be imaginary together," said Bill. "I don't want to be friends with an imaginary dragon," said Pete. "I'm going to find my friends Laura and Ronaldo. They're leprechauns." "Can I come?" said Bill. "No way," said Pete, leaving Bill all alone. Bill wanted to find out for sure whether or not he was imaginary, so he went to the town library and found a book about dragons. The very first line was, "Dragons are imaginary creatures." Bill showed the book to the librarian. "Is this true?" he asked. "Am I really imaginary?" "You sure are," said the librarian. "And since imaginary creatures aren't allowed to have library cards, I'm taking yours away." The librarian tore Bill's library card into tiny pieces. "Can I keep the pieces at least?" said Bill on the verge of tears. "My real ears can't hear your imaginary words," the librarian said, as he scooted Bill out the door and slammed it shut behind him. Bill wandered miserably back to the forest. Being useless, lonely, and imaginary was so exhausting that Bill curled up in a pile of dry leaves and went to sleep, hoping he'd feel better after a nap. He slept throughout the afternoon and night and all through the next morning. When Bill finally woke up early the next afternoon, he was very hungry. There was a field of corn at the edge of the woods. Bill loved corn, but almost never ate it because it made him burp fire. "But since I'm imaginary, it won't hurt if I eat an ear or two," he thought. Before he knew it, Bill had eaten 357 ears of corn. He was almost glad to be imaginary if it meant getting the chance to stuff his belly. But suddenly, Bill began to feel very queasy, so he went back to the forest to lie down. Before long, he felt a gigantic rumbling in his belly and let out a gigantic burp, which was followed by a gigantic fireball, which burned down a gigantic tree. Bill felt bad about the tree, but only for a second. Imaginary fireballs can only burn down imaginary trees, thought Bill, before eating another 893 ears of corn, burping 3 more fireballs, and burning down 3 more trees. Meanwhile, in the town, the baker woke up with a yawn. He looked at his clock and saw that it was already well past lunchtime. The baker yelled, "My cinnamon rolls!" which woke up the children, who looked at their wristwatches and realized that they were very late for school. "We're very late for school!" they cried, which woke up the king, who looked out the window and saw that none of the people were doing what they were supposed to be doing. The king stood on his balcony and waved his scepter back and forth, but it was no use. Everyone was still in bed. This made the king so angry that he stormed down the stairs and got onto his horse without even changing out of his pajamas. The king summoned his 8 bravest soldiers and charged off at once, directly toward the tower of smoke rising above the forest. When the king and his men found Bill, he was lying on his back, completely stuffed and surrounded by smoldering trees. "Go ahead and poke me with your swords and spears," said Bill. "It won't hurt a bit. I'm completely imaginary." To Bill's surprise, the king began to laugh. "What makes you think you're imaginary?" said the king. "The little bird told me," said Bill. "Plus, I read it in a book." "That's nonsense," said the king. "You're as real as the nose on my face." "I am?" said Bill. "Of course you are," said the king. "Every morning when you land on the bakery roof, you wake up the baker, who bakes the cinnamon rolls, which smell so good that it wakes up the children, who sing and shout on their way to school, which wakes me up, so that I can stand on my balcony waving my scepter back and forth and telling everybody what to do." "I'm really not imaginary?" said Bill with surprise. "Of course you're not," said the king. "If you were imaginary, I wouldn't be waving my scepter at you telling you what to do." "Oh," said Bill, suddenly quite pleased. "And what am I supposed to do?" "Stop burning down my forest and wake up the baker in the morning," said the king in a huff, before getting back on his horse and riding back to town to change out of his pajamas. Bill smiled. Not only was he not imaginary, but now he had something important to do. He had never felt so good in his life. To celebrate, he ate 147 more ears of corn and burped a tiny fireball that accidentally singed Morris's eyebrows. "Whoops," said Bill. Morris said nothing and flew away to be mean to someone else. Early the next morning, Bill flew down to the bakery roof. A few minutes later, the cinnamon rolls started baking. A few minutes after that, the children started singing and shouting. And a few minutes after that, the king appeared on his balcony. He looked right at Bill and, instead of waving his scepter, gave a little wink. Feeling very satisfied and extremely important, Bill went to the forest to tell Pete that dragons aren't imaginary after all. But Pete wasn't there. As it turns out, unicorns really are imaginary. Bum, 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 the end.
Oh my goodness, you guys. All right. Now, I wanted to tell you. Oh, I will consult the.
Yes.
Oh, where's the agenda? Robbie, do you have it? Oh, here it is. All right. Order in the court. Robbie, Matthew.
Shares highlights of other versions that were rejected.
So this morning, I remembered that the imaginary dragon that we just read for you guys was the result of a long process of many, many attempts to create different versions of the story.
Yes.
The very first version of the story I wrote in about 15 minutes in 2011. I learned this morning because in 2011, I wrote 100 different children's books in 100 days. I just said, I'm going to see if I can write some children's books. I'm going to sit down and for the next 100 days, every single day, I'll write another story. And I think at some point, I might want to read some of these stories that
Some
never
of them got to be super weird.
got turned into regular books to you guys, just for fun. But I looked at the original version of The Imaginary Dragon, and there's little bits of it that are the same, you guys, but things were very different. At one point, Bill had a big brother who was kind of mean to him.
Oh, that's
and
right.
that was one of the reasons that he wasn't able to make fireballs, because he lacked self-confidence.
Right.
At another point, Bill's job for the town, which he didn't know, was to lie on a hammock between two mountain ranges and block out the sun so that the people in the town could eat their ice cream cones without them melting all over their hands.
Right.
And when Bill left because he was too sad, he went to go hide in a cave by himself. The princess's ice cream cone melted and it got on the king's xylophone and it made the king really cranky, and he sent people to the mountain cave to go get Bill. So during this time, I was trying to make better versions of the story, but I was working with Aaron Stein, who is our editor. Our magnificent, glorious, tall, powerful, persuasive, articulate, wonderful editor, Aaron. And she kept writing me encouraging emails like, I think we got a little bit further away from the goal, Matthew.
The part about the xylophone is a little weird.
Also, when I was looking at this earlier drafts, there were way too many words. Even the book we just read to you right now.
Had a lot of words.
Too long.
Yeah.
Picture books, at least picture books that get published by big companies, usually a lot shorter. Look at your picture books; they're usually a lot shorter. Parents, well, I shouldn't say that. Parents don't want them to be too long for some reasons. Also, being able to tell a story in a very small number of words
It's hard.
is a real art form.
It is.
And I was not very good at it yet, guys. So while I was working with Aaron to try to figure it out, I was trying to learn a lot about storytelling I didn't know yet.
How many versions of this story do
There
you
were
think you read?
8 versions of the story in the folder I looked at this
Yeah.
morning. And the ultimate conclusion that Aaron and I came to is that it just wasn't working well enough for her to publish at Macmillan.
Yeah.
And so we were sad about that, but we had a story that we liked that we were able to publish through Bobbly Books. There was another version of the story where Bill lived in New York City on top of a building,
Oh, right.
and he slept underneath a water tower. And as he breathed out while he was dreaming, his hot breath warmed the water in the water tower,
Wow.
which meant the little boy who lived in the building could have a hot shower. One morning, Bill was so sad that he rolled over on his side and was too far from the water tower that the water got cold. And the boy came out and was like, "What's up, dude? Get back to your job." So there was also a part where Bill went to the town park and squirrels threw nuts at him. And Bill said, "Ouch."
Oh, right.
And the squirrel said, "That couldn't have hurt. You're an imaginary dragon. Imaginary dragons, it doesn't hurt them when you throw nuts at them. But could you please give me back my acorn?"
Was the existential, am I imaginary question, was that always part of this book? Or
Always.
It
That
was.
is always the crux of
That
it.
was
What is
always the
imaginary?
point.
Friends, if you are, then you are. You're not imaginary if you are.
Did
Bill
you have
is.
imaginary friends as a child?
Didn't have friends as a child, period, Robbie.
Well, that's why you needed imaginary friends. Did you have any?
Even imaginary friends wouldn't be my friend when I was little, Robbie. I was like, hey guys, hey invisible ostrich with 3 eyes. And they'd be like, say hi to the hand. Even though they didn't even have hands. Actually, my invisible ostrich friend had 3 hands, and all of them were like, "Matthew, go away." So I write my pain. That's what the imaginary dragon is all about.
I had a new brother and sister.
Right.
So I have a real brother and sister,
Yeah.
but I had an imaginary brother and sister that were better.
What function did they play in your lives? Yeah.
They were just more fun.
Yeah.
And they lived in Washington, D.C., which was a cool place to live.
Right. Wow, I would feel really bad if I were your brother and sister, and
well-
I was less fun than somebody that didn't even exist.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
would say to my brother and sister, I'm going to go play with my new brother and sister
I wish
from Washington, D.C.
that I had at least had your brother and sister. I could have taken your real brother and sister to be my friends because they would have been better than the invisible ostrich that shunned me. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
I did have some friends.
We
I had
have
a
some
friend
questions.
named Charles Wallace, a friend named
He was
Eddie.
not. I was asking about invisible friends. I mean, imaginary friends.
I just wanted people to know I did have friends as I was little. Yes, go ahead, Robbie. Tell us.
All right.
Ooh.
William asks, why is the dragon pink?
Well, Robbie, why is the dragon pink? Oftentimes, when you hand a manuscript to Robbie, she does things that subvert your expectations, meaning I assume she's going to do something one way, and she does it another way, I think on purpose. Did I assume that my male dragon named Bill was going to be pink? I did not assume that. Do I think it's kind of awesome that he is? I do, but it wasn't my idea. Whose idea was it, Robbie?
It was
Bear?
my idea.
Okay.
I was trying to pick a color that wasn't green
Okay.
because all of the scenery was going to be green. He was
Right.
in the forest. He was in the field.
Right.
I wanted him to stick out.
You wanted some contrast.
I wanted some contrast,
Right.
which is important in
Yeah,
a book.
yeah.
And I chose pink because he was a boy dragon, and all of these people have this idea that pink is not a boy color, which is false.
No.
There are no gendered colors.
I have a lovely pink shirt
Yes.
that looks great on me.
You are a pinkish sort of man.
Thank you, Robbie. Was that a
Yeah.
compliment? I don't know.
I'm just saying.
What else do we have? Never trust YouTube. On what sense, I wonder.
Oh, yes, because I learned some stuff about going through the center of the earth. on
Drew is
YouTube.
not doing a concert today. Whoops.
Oh, okay.
All right.
It's good to know.
But will he do one at one point? And can you tell us?
Yes.
Why did you name?
Why did you name the bird Morris?
Guys, I wish I had a more satisfying answer other than that inside of my brain is a machine. Have you ever seen those machines in the grocery stores where you put in a quarter or 50 cents these days and you turn the knob and something comes out? You don't know what it is, but it's always something. When I need a name for a story, I reach into my head. I don't have to put a quarter into it. I just turn the knob and a name comes out. And either I
It's
will
amazing.
love the name or I won't love the name. But
Matthew
usually I love it.
is writing a manuscript right now.
Yeah.
Where there are 5 different
Witches.
witches,
Houses of witches.
houses of witches, and 5 different kingdoms of witches.
Yeah.
And the names that he came up with are amazing. Do you remember any of
No,
them?
none of them. No, I don't remember anything unless I have to at that exact
One
moment.
witch was named Blogwalla.
Blogwalla. Blogwalla is the head
Best
witch.
name.
Yes.
The best name.
Don't go stealing my names.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, Matthew doesn't know how he names anything, but he really comes up with good
I
ones.
just reach in there. There's stuff in there.
Yeah.
Have you ever reached into a drawer and you see what comes out?
Full of
or
junk?
reach into, like what color of sock am I going to get? Or you reach into the darkness, maybe a cave full
No,
of creatures.
don't do that. That's a
and
bad
you're like,
idea.
oh, is this a
Ah,
scorpion?
nope,
Ouch!
nope.
It's a scorpion!
That's a bad idea.
Don't do that. But you could.
One question.
Yeah.
Charles Wallace. Your friend was actually called Charles Wallace?
His name was Charles Wallace. Yeah. Why?
Because Charles Wallace is the brother in A Wrinkle in Time. Are you sure his name is Charles Wallace?
I think the brother in Wrinkle in Time has a different name.
It's Charles Wallace.
It's Charles Wallace. Well, my best friend growing up was Charles Wallace. Yeah.
Are you
And he
sure
went
he
by
wasn't
he went by
imaginary?
Charles Wallace. I think that like his name was like Charles Wallace Johnson or something like that. His mom called him Charles Wallace. Why are you so skeptical?
I'm a little skeptical. I
He
do
was
believe
not
this is
imaginary.
true.
He was a real boy. We had real games that we played.
We're getting some movie recommendations. We
All right.
haven't seen Onward yet.
Oh no!
I've heard
Is
that
it
it's-
available on Disney Plus
It is.
now? It is.
It is.
Maybe
And
we'll
I've
watch it
heard
with our
it's
children.
highly emotional, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for it.
Those Pixar movies always
They
make me cry.
tear me up,
Robbie,
man.
I have bad news.
Yeah, it's time,
1:30.
it's time.
We need to move on.
Thank you, Lemon Turtle.
To our next program.
I appreciate your
What
support.
did Lemon Toodle... Were they admiring you?
Yes, they
You
were.
directly, just you and only you. You know, Robbie is amazing. It's true. Onward is so good. Robbie's the best. Oh, my goodness. Yes, he will do it at some point. Thank you.
Yes.
Please give
All
him a
right.
hug for me. Give that man a hug for me. Your dad, Drew. I love him. I love that guy. I love him. I love him.
So do I.
All right.
We have to go. We're going to be late for the next one.
Yeah, we started late for you.
Come over to the Real McCoys. Next, we're going to be starting book 2 from the very
I
beginning.
hope you enjoyed seeing Jasper because it will never happen.
Never
again.
happening again.
All right, friends.
All right.
Goodbye. It's been a thrill. It's been
Yeah.
a joy. It's been a joy and a thrill and a
Enjoy.
joy.